All right, guys, we're going to do the last thing on this LS motor before we put it in the truck. The last thing that we really need to get done on this thing. There is a broken exhaust manifold stud right here, and I believe it's the only one. And we need to get that out before we put the motor back in. I do believe this is the only one. I will go check and just make sure there's not one broke off up in here. But I believe this is the only one. Now, normally what I do every time without fail, the way I handle these is I put a nut on top of this and I weld it, put a wrench on there, back it out. That does two things. One, the heat allows it to expand around through here and break the rust up a little bit. And then of course you got a nut on the end of it so you can get a wrench on it to get a hold of it. But I do enjoy showing people how to do things that may not have the most equipment or the money to go out and buy equipment or have somebody else do it. So if you don't have a shop full of equipment, the alternative to that is, especially if you've got a little bit sticking out. This has just a little bit sticking out right here, and I'll bring you in closer as I start to work and show you. But this has a little bit sticking out. So one of the alternatives you can do is grab you a good pair of vice grips and one of these little torches like this, and you can pick these up at any local hardware store, and they're actually fairly cheap, and they're good to have around the shop. You do not have to spend the money to get one that has a little button on it like that. You can get the cheaper ones and light them with a striker or a lighter or something and save you another, 20 bucks or so. But these things are fairly cheap. I don't even remember now. I've had this one around here for a while, but I think I picked this up for like 40 bucks or so, bottle of gas and this. They're pretty cheap. So what we'll do is we'll heat this up just a little bit, get a little heat in it, put our pliers on it, and we'll start working out and back a little bit. And when we're working out and back, what we're doing is just chipping that rust out of the threads a little bit. It's kind of self-cleaning, if you will. And then we'll be able to start working this back out. It'll come out fairly easy. You'll be able to see how it's not really the end of the world. Now, if it was broke off flush, we wouldn't have this ability. We would have to, in that case, what I would do is put a washer the size of the hole there to protect the outside, and then put a nut over there and weld that in there, and then have to go back to the other method. And there's only two possibilities at that point if you break this off flush with it. And one is to drill it out, which is not the best case in these particular heads because of the water jackets. You see you work on FEs a lot. FEs, it's fine. Matter of fact, most of what you'll see here is FE stuff. FEs, it's fine because there's nothing there that you can drill into. These there is, so you got to be a little extra careful with that. So drilling it out is not the best technique. It's one of those where, okay, I have no other choice kind of technique. So let's go with what we got here, and let's fix the one that we're dealing with here, and let me bring you in a little closer. All right, let me get these things sit to the size that I need before I start. Looks like about right there. All right. It doesn't take just an astronomical amount of heat. All you really want to do is cause it to expand just a little bit. I see we're already starting to get some movement. It's really that easy. And there we go. That's all there are to it. Crazy thing is, it looks like that thing was almost out when it broke off, so that's kind of weird in itself, but that's all there is to it. Remember, don't put your finger on that, that's hot. So now I'm just gonna take a little pick and go through and make sure that there's nothing in any of the holes. The holes are cleaned out good, and make sure we can get some bolts in these things. I need to put valve cover gaskets on this thing, but that doesn't necessarily have to be done before the engine goes in. It can be. It's out, so I may go ahead and do that, but I can see evidence that they've leaked, so I want to go ahead and address that while they're here. I also need to clean the old gasket material off of where the water pump is here and get it ready for the new water pump to go on. But for the most part, this engine now is ready to go back into the truck. Again, a couple of minor things. But the truck itself isn't ready yet, because if you remember, we struggled with the motor mount on this side of the truck. And I ended up, I think it was this side. Yeah. I ended up actually removing the bolts from the block to the mount to get the old one out. So I've got to get, this one has new motor mounts on it. So I need to get the motor mount out of the truck so that this can go back in there without any issues, and set it down with these new mounts. So I've got to get the truck back in and get the truck ready for the engine now. That'll be the next step. So I know this was kind of a shorter video. The whole purpose of this video was to kind of show you a technique to remove a broken bolt. Kind of went quicker than I actually thought it would, to be honest. So let's add some filler content. Let me show you some of the engines you're going to see in this or on this channel over the next, let's say, month. We got some holidays coming up, so some time will get lost on some things. But first, over here is the LS that you knew, I mean, the one we just worked on. It's going in the truck. That needs to get done before Christmas. There's a lot of stuff going on between now and Christmas, and it's really hard for me to get anything done in these time schedules. My daughter's about to get married. She's getting married right before Christmas. Then, of course, the holidays, and there's just a lot going on. So the LS going in the truck, that is probably the only LS you will see on this channel. You may see one more, but it's highly unlikely. I don't think you will. That's probably the only LS you'll see on this channel. And it's nothing particular against the platform. It's not my style. So that probably will be the only one you see on it. Next to it is a little Chevy 350 that I'm building that we'll talk about in a second. Next to it is an FE that we're building. I'll talk about it in just a second. We'll go through these one at a time. And then that one's unique. I'll mention that one in a little bit. Actually, since the block work's been done to that one has been wrapped in plastic, and I have not seen that one myself in several months. It's been tucked away in the corner, wrapped in plastic, and waiting to be built. And I've kind of left it wrapped in dark plastic because I don't want to see it. I want it out of sight and out of mind. That way I'm not thinking about it. But yeah, I'm going to get to that one. So let's get to them one at a time. So not much to say about the LS. This is a 5.3 LS. It's nothing over the top special. This motor is a replacement for the one in the white truck. We've talked about it a lot. That white truck has right at 300,000. I don't remember the exact mileage. This motor right here is right at 100,000. So by no means a new motor, but it was in really good shape, running, driving, no noises. So it's one of those, we got to put a motor in the truck to get it running and driving. This was a good inexpensive way to do that. Of course, there's a few little things we have to do. You know, we're putting a water pump on it. We had to remove a couple broken bolts. You've seen all that. I mean, we've made videos on everything. So there's not really much to say about that. You're going to see this one before you do any of the rest of them, because this one right here is going back in the truck, hopefully by this weekend sometime. Actually, you know what? We're supposed to do a Christmas parade Saturday, so I've got to do a little preparation for that. But hopefully by the weekend, this is going back in the truck and we'll be ready to go. So let's just move on to the next one down the line. So this one right here is a 350 4-bolt main block. It does have the wrong color for a Chevy motor on it, but this is going into a special project for me. And actually, I have to have this motor done in probably about another week, because it's without giving too much details away, this is a gift for somebody. It's very special to me. It has a lot of meaning to me, and this is a gift for somebody. And I have a small window that I'm actually going to have a chance to give it to them. So I need to get this engine assembled and ready for them probably in the next week or so. So that's going to be first. The LS is going to be first, and then we're going to move to this and get this knocked out and done. And the thing about engines, guys, is that has to go in a vehicle, so that takes up a lot of space, and I can't do with one of those. But engine builds like these right through here, I can tie all 3 of these up and knock a couple of engines a day out. So it's not like these are going to take up a lot of time, but I just got to get the rest of the parts here and get this thing put together within the next probably week to meet a timeline that I need to get done. So I'm not going to give you a lot of details about this. The color of this engine will kind of give you a hint as to what I'm doing with it. This is not a Chevy color. It's not a Ford color either. Don't freak out on me. But it is a GM product color. So this is going in a special project for a special person, and it needs to be done in the next few days. So I can't give you a lot of details on this. What I will tell you is the block setting here has a fresh 40 overboard, has all new cam bearings in it. It is a 4-bolt main block, and it's going to be a really nice street engine. So that one you will see coming really soon. It has to come soon. So you're going to see that real soon. Let's move on to this one. So this one is kind of a proxy engine and kind of not. This is to represent an engine that I'm about to build. This was going to be the block, but we changed directions a little bit. We are building a Mercury 410. And it was important to us to be as true to a Mercury 410 as we could. And this block here, although it's a good block, this block is a overboard block, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm probably going to trade out and use this on a different build I got in mind, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I have come across a set of factory OEM 410 pistons. And since we're going out of our way to make everything correct, I have another block that has great virgin bores that does not need to be bored. So we're going to use it to build the 410 out of. That way all of it's correct. It's got the correct parts inside of it. It's going to have the correct numbers in the correct places. This is going to be as close to being an straight off the production line Mercury 410 as you can get without actually going to Mercury in 1966 and buying a Mercury 410 crate engine. So we're doing everything we can to build a absolutely period correct build. I'm not going to use the term all original or none of that, because it is a mismatch of parts with the correct numbers on them. So we're going to say it is a period correct 410 build is what this is going to represent. And it's also going to represent another engine that I'm going to be building, another engine for a project of mine that I've been wanting to do as well, and it's going to be an FE. So you're going to see 2 FEs on this channel, and it may come down to what I do is I may just use this block for my build, maybe, and use the block that I've got over there for the 410 build and just do a little jumbling around so that everything is correct for the 410 build. The 410 build, the correctness, the period correctness is more important than the build that I'm doing for me. For me, I don't care. It could have 2 different freaking heads on it for all I care. I don't care for the build for me. But for this one, it has to be correct. This goes out to a buddy of mine, and I want him to have the absolute best example of a 410 that he can have. So you will be seeing this one coming on the channel. This one will probably, I want to say these is going to be getting done before Christmas, but let's face it, we got what, 2 weeks to Christmas, so this may come right after Christmas because we're just kind of piling stuff up here. So this will probably come right after Christmas, right around the new year. You will see this done, and I'm going to be working on this one right here too. This one, I have pretty much everything to build it, and I can build it in a day's time. So I may get it squeezed in before Christmas. I don't know. It depends on how much time it depends on how much time that white truck takes up, is what it really depends on, because that one needs to get done, and that is a much bigger project, having the whole vehicle here. So it depends on how much time that takes up as to how much I get through here. But if that doesn't take up a lot of my time, then I can definitely knock this one out. I can probably, since I have most of the stuff here, get this one knocked out, or at least the short block knocked out, and get it sitting here waiting. That one, I've got to order some parts for, and I've got to make a list of what I actually have here, because it's been so out of sight, out of mind for a while that I've actually got to put a list of stuff together that I need for that one. So let's take a look at that one. That one's going to get a spotlight onto itself. So let's take a look at that one. And this is the first time I've actually laid eyes on this motor since back in the summer when I cleaned the block and painted it. And I gotta say, man, that gold glitter still smacks you right in the mouth. It's just as hard hitting as the first time I seen this engine. I ain't even playing, this thing hits hard. This engine, I tried some different paint techniques on to see how it would work. It was kind of a test mule for me. I did have a plan for where I was going to put this engine, and those plans have changed now. I did some horse trading around with a buddy of mine, and now he owns this engine. Actually, I did some horse trading around with a buddy of mine and acquired this engine. Then I done some horse trading around, and he reacquired this engine. We traded out, and I got an FE block from him and some FE parts, and he ended up with this motor back. This is a 351 Cleveland. To be exact, for what I was doing with it, the bore worked perfect. This is bored out, and this is actually 357 cubic inches. I just thought 357 was a cool sounding cubic inch for what I was doing with it. At the time, a 357 was just awesome. So now this motor is destined for a different project. He has earmarked for it. You see it. I'm not giving you any information on it because it's kind of a mind-boggling, blowing. But that's okay. That's what buddies are for, right? So I love it. I love that all of it's getting used, because honestly, it just sits around here. So this is something that we will probably try to do about the first of the year, because I can't do everything before Christmas, and I've got to make a list of some parts that I need for this. And there is some parts that I don't have for this because it had been on the back burner for so long. Honestly, what I was doing with it, all I needed right now was a block for mock-up purposes, and it just had to be glittery gold. This block has enough metal flake in it to make a bass boat jealous, and I'm telling you, it hits like a ton of bricks. So it's a shame that it has to get hidden under the hood of something. This right here ought to be in an open fendered roadster or something, just because it hits so hard. But either way,
it's one of those that's going to hit under the hood of a vehicle. So I'm not even going to tell you if it's in a car, truck, or what. I'm not telling you nothing. I'm telling you that this is going to a buddy of mine for a cool project that it's going to be something you're going to want to see. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise for you. This is not my build. This is his. So we got to let him decide what he wants. But you will be seeing me do some of my patented head work on a Cleveland motor before long, because I will be tearing the heads apart and I will be doing the heads in house. I really don't like to send heads out. I like to do it myself. So yeah, here's the bells of the ball that you'll see first and foremost over it. Technically, that one's marking 2 spots, remember that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 engines that you will see something being done with over the next few weeks. You know, just a day in a life. Lots of engines, and stay tuned. So if you see a flavor that you like, I kind of have something for everybody, honestly, coming over the next few weeks. So if you see something you like, stay tuned for the video. Of course, if you're an LS guy, that's coming first. You'll be able to see an LS coming up, going in the truck. You've seen some videos on it and everything. If your flavor is the old school small block Chevy, then it's right here. That's coming up. You'll be able to see that. If you're like me and you're pretty much a diehard FE guy, you will see a couple of those coming. And they are, at least one of these is going to be something super cool, over the top. And the other one is going to be kind of a down and dirty, let's call it a budget build, down and dirty kind of, let's make the best out of the parts we have and make something really cool out of it. I love doing budget builds on FEs just to break the stereotypes. And then we have that. Oh Lord, we have that, the gold nugget. That one right there is the Fort Knox of the group. That one is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, let's be honest about it. And that's what I was going for when I done that. I wanted something that was kind of it just slaps you in the mouth when you look at it. And as you can see, kind of off in the shadows, it's not that overwhelming, but when the sunlight hits it, it's like Mike Tyson had a 2x4 and just smacks you in the mouth at a full run. That bitch hits. And I'm telling you right now, you can drive down the road with that and people with bass boats will cry because their boat doesn't glitter like that bitch does. That right there is going to be over the top, and it's going to be ridiculous. And I hope that my buddy kind of lets me have some fun with that one and do things like a mother thumper cam or, you know, something along those lines, just so it sounds as good as it looks. Let's face it, that right there does not need to be run through a modern quiet muffler with a tame stock cam and just a little that does not need that. That right there needs something that goes, man, will you let me look under the hood of your vehicle? You thought I was gonna say it, didn't you? That right there is choice cut, is what I'm saying. So anyway, guys, we are almost at the 500. When we get to the 500, as long as I'm actually home and can do it, as soon as we get to the 500, I'm giving away a Summit gift card. We are right there. We are just a few subscribers away. So please hit the like and subscribe button. 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to build an engine and give it to one of you fellas. I mean, you don't get the pig, I do, but I'm going to build an engine right here on the channel. And like I said in the video, Who Wants a Free Engine? I'm not giving it away the day I hit 1,000, but the day I hit 1,000, we're going to start the build. And we're going to do a budget build right here on the channel. And when the build is done, boom, we're giving it away to a subscriber. So there's no downside, folks. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I hope the Lord blesses you today. I hope that you enjoy some of these things. And again, there should be a flavor here for everybody. I think we have everything covered. We've got Ford, we've got Chevy, we've got old school, we've got new school. We've got a little a little something for everybody is what I'm saying. So guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. Therefore, I can help you out. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.